Hello, this is the Somerset News Network. 200 years ago, in 1775, in America was the Battle of Lexington. The War of Independence had started. Nobody knows who fired the first shot, but the militia met in Lexington and the British Army turned up. Somebody fired a shot and it all blew up. Now, how did we get there? Now, this is my take on the War of Independence. I think the Americans were right. They shouldn't be taxed without representation. And I've told you in my last video that one of the ringleaders of what you would now call the deep state, the British deep state, was in charge. The elites. It was Lord North who was the problem, with a guy called Murray. Now, Murray's name keeps coming up when I'm reading things, and I'm not sure exactly what he did, but he was helping out behind the scenes. Much like Soros is in America at the moment. I think the same sort of thing was happening back then. Now, things happened, and I'm linking them together. And I think the American War of Independence was to continue slavery. You were told in America that it was taxation without representation, which was fair enough, and we agree with that. But the underlying deep state wanted to allow slavery to continue. Now, we'd been through the 7-year war with France, and we were running out of money, 1760s, 1770s. So the government under Lord North in 1770 started to look for ways to recoup money by taxing. So they had a molasses tax in 1733, so they then added to that the sugar tax in 1764, the Stamp Act in 1765, the American Duties Act in 1764. Now, this is all heading up to the Boston Tea Party in 1773, before Lexington 2 years later. Now, we even charged you in 1765. We even charged you a quartering tax. That was so the barracks where we kept our troops, we would tax you. Now, you were a colony. Why should you have to pay for the army? We got tariff problems now. Trump's putting tariffs on everything. But this is what the British were doing to you. It was making American goods more expensive in England. Cotton mills were in real trouble because of the cost of cotton from America. But to keep the price down, they wanted to maintain slavery. That's what I think. I haven't got any proof on it. I expect there's some historians out there that will find some bits of information that can add to this, or prove me wrong. Now, in 1773, in London, a ship's captain captured an ex-slave. His name was Somerset. That's how I always remember it, because this is Somerset News Network. His name was Somerset, but it was spelled with 2 T's on the end. And he was a slave out of Boston. He went to court, and the abolitionists at the time supported his court case. He won his court case because there's an ancient British law that says that no man can own another. And that goes back to the Middle Ages. We banned slavery years ago. In the 1200s we banned slavery. No man could own another. They went to court and they won their court case. So Somerset was free. Somerset helped to train himself in the law as well. Now, what that meant was that Britain, England, had outlawed slavery because they were saying that no man could own another. Now, what happens as you've got British law in the United States? You look at the Yale law site, they've got Blackstone's on there. They've got our Bill of Rights. They've got the Magna Carta. In Runnymede, where they signed the Magna Carta in 1215, there is a monument put up by the American Law Society. We just got a field. You put a monument up. You did that in America. So you see how important British law is to the American law. So if no man can earn another, that would then transpose into America. That would then outlaw slavery. And this is now 1773. So that's on the background of the no taxation without representation. We have the Boston Tea Party because of the tax on tea. Now, 1775, we then had the militia meet the British Army at Lexington, and somebody fired the first shot. They don't know who fired the first shot. But I think that the accumulation of unfair taxes on America and the threat of freeing slaves and outlawing slavery using the High Court Law Lord's case of Somerset in 1773 could have freed slaves way back then. I think the deep state back then wanted to continue slavery. One way they could do it is by fighting the British, getting rid of the British, and calling American independence. That's my take on it. I could be wrong, but that's the way I'm thinking. I'm joining the dots up, and it fits. Britain had abolitionists around the time of the War of Independence, 1775. The lady that lived in the house the other side of the church was an abolitionist. She was what's called a letter writer. She used to write to the Times. And she supported Wilberforce, who was against slavery. Britain did not ban slavery till 1833. And then we used the Royal Navy to capture slave slips to set the slaves free. Many people that you talk to don't even know that we did it. I did that at school. But the American War of Independence was, I believe, to maintain slavery. And you, in America, then after the Second World War, you had a division. Blacks weren't allowed into some cafes and some businesses. And you had the civil rights movement. You know, you didn't ban slavery until the American Civil War. But then you had segregation, which was totally wrong. Now, it's all part of the same history of America and Britain. Someone has to look into it and see what the Somerset court case that freed a slave and said a slave was free because no man could earn another affected the American War of Independence. I haven't got the resources to do it. And I'm hoping that somebody will watch this and say, "Oh God, that guy's got a point. Let's look into it." You find me out I'm wrong, fair enough. I haven't got the resources or the time to do it. But somebody should look into this. Anyway, Ian, Somerset News Network. 250 years of the American War of Independence against the British. We were in the wrong. But the reasons why you fought the war may not be what you're told by history. Anyway, Ian, bye-bye for now.